Hello my bookish lovelies, Kira here, and today I'm going to be going over what I hope to be getting read in May. Actually, like, April was a very successful reading month. I got a ton of books read and out of the way that I really had been wanting to get to. As you guys know, I was home most of the time in April, so that really helped too. I will not be home most of the time in May since everything's reopening. I will be present in the workplace pretty much full time again like I was before. So this means like that I could not pick nearly as many books as I typically do, but I'm hoping that the books that I picked will serve as kind of a starting ground, because the problem is like I can stick to a TBR for a little while, and I've noticed this about myself. Towards the end of the month, like when I have just gone through a good portion of it at least, and sometimes I'm the full way through the month. It depends on how I'm doing and how stressed out I am and everything else. Sometimes I just end up picking up something else, either a feel-good read. It just really depends on how I do it, because I am predominantly a mood reader. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the books that I hope to go ahead and get to in the month of May. So the first book, I've been trying to mix things up a little bit. I want to do both romance and fantasy and contemporary. So this is kind of like the things that I really hope to be able to get to. Most of these books are going to be fairly quick reads. I did pick a few bigger books, and I will also be doing a buddy read with Dragon from Backlist Books, which I will talk to you guys more about that when I get to that. So one of the first books that I hope to read is Where the Crawdads Sing. I have been in a huge contemporary fiction mood lately. It just feels like it's really easy to read. I blow right through it. Nice because emotionally, like, this stuff has really been helping me quite a bit, like as far as distractions go. And yes, some of the stuff that I've been reading is a lot heavier, but it allows me to get wrapped up in it a lot easier because, you know, everything that's going on has just been really kind of rough. So Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. It's been a while since I've read the synopsis for this. I know like that it's a very popular book. A lot of people have read this book, and I am very excited to see what it is about. I believe that there is a girl and she lives in a marsh, and she goes and she starts living with a family because she's been living on her own in the wild for a while. They call her Marsh Girl, and I think like there's kind of like a little bit of romance in this as well. I know it's supposed to be just wonderful and very powerful. It was Reese Witherspoon's book club pick at one point because there is a sticker on this. But I'm really excited because this is a book that I've been really wanting to get to for a while. I have a few like of contemporary fiction books like really towards the top of my list, and this is one of them. Another book that I really hope to get to is The Great Hunt, sequel to The Eye of the World. This is book 2 in the Wheel of Time series. I read the first book for the Wheel of Time. It took me 2.5 months to get through it because what I was doing was I was listening to the audiobook for The Eye of the World, which is the first book in the Wheel of Time, and then I would go back and I would have a physical copy and I would tab like all the important parts, or the parts that I thought were important, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen like these books, but these books are not only huge, but the writing is really, really tiny. So these books are definitely something like that really is very time consuming. It takes a long time to get through them. And so I kind of just took my time with it because I'm not looking to rush this series. The series is already complete. And this series, I believe, is a 14-book series. So I really just kind of like want to absorb like as much as I can on my way through it. So I kind of feel like part of that's, you know, like just going back through rereading like the parts that I've already listened to so that I can kind of remember a little bit more about what's going on. I feel like tabbing is also very important. I'm not sure, I'm very undecided yet as to whether or not I'm going to continue on doing it that way. I might just go ahead and pick up the physical copy that I have here and read this by itself. I'm not really sure yet how I want to handle this. I know that this is probably going to take me more than a month to read because like I've been taking my time with these. I know like that this series is considered classic. I'm not really sure how I feel about this series yet. The Eye of the World was okay, but I feel like it's going to take a long time to really get into this series, being the fact that it's a 14-book series. So I'm going to give it this book, and I might give it another book after that to see how I feel about it. But I know like the first book was kind of very daunting for me because of the way it was written, more like of Tolkien and Lord of the Rings style, which I've never been a fan of that writing. I love the stories themselves, but I've never been a fan of that writing style, which I know is a very unpopular opinion because like the Tolkien fans are very hardcore, which more power to you. I'm so glad like that you guys enjoy that writing style because it is very beautiful. It's just not for me. But I heard that this second book is not written that way, which I'm very relieved about. So that's the next book I hope to get to. The book that I'm going to be buddy reading is Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson with Dragon from Backlist Books. This is a book that I have been wanting to get to for a very long time. A lot of people really love this. This has a magical library in it. And what more do you need to know other than that as far as whether or not you want to read a book, is a magical library. So I'm very excited to see what this is. A lot of people love this. I want to know how I feel about this too, and I'm really excited to have good in-depth discussions with Dragon from Backlist Books regarding this one. The next book that I'm going to be reading is Before They Are Hanged by Joe Abercrombie. This is another grimdark. This is the second book in the series of the First Law trilogy, and I just recently finished the first one. I'm not sure if the review for that first book is going to be up on my channel by the time I finish this. It's like most epic fantasies, like this is very political. There's a lot of things going on, but the characters really make this book, so I'm really happy to dive back in and revisit the characters that I grew to love in the first book. And honestly, like, it's really hard to discuss like what this plot is about, because like these books don't really have much of a plot. These books are simply dependent on the characters that are in them to support the storyline, and I feel like, all things considered, like, they do a fantastic job, because I end up spending so much time thinking about these characters long after I've put down the first book. So I'm really excited to continue on with this. If I get through a good portion of this, I probably will move on to the third book this month, but it just depends how far along I get and how many books I get to. So I'm going to be completing some series this month, which I'm really excited about, because these are series that I have absolutely loved. So the first one is The Deck of Omens by Christine Lynn Herman. I read the first book, The Devouring Grey, a little over a year ago, and I absolutely, positively loved it. It's about like these four kids who have descendants from their town called Four Paths. It's kind of like a paranormal ghost story, but like there's so much going on and there's so much yet we still didn't know. This is a duology. So this is the second book in that duology, and I have been on the edge of my seat waiting for this conclusion forever. So I'm really excited to be getting into this. The woods is haunted. It's been taking more people than it typically does. The founding families each have like their own special abilities that kind of help to protect the rest of the village. But for some reason, it's not working anymore, and they're trying to figure out why. And things are starting to awaken and starting to become more powerful than they ever have been before in their lifetime. So I'm really excited to see like where this goes. I love the cover on this. Like, it's not just the cover by, I'm just so excited to read this. The next book that I'm going to be finishing a series of is The Ember Queen by Laura Sebastian. I last year read The Ash Princess, which is the very first one. Later last year I also read the second book, and then this is the third book in the series, and this recently also came out this year, and I am very excited because I have been wanting to get to this. I want to see how this wraps up. These are fairly easy to read. Like, the font's not really all that small, and they may seem like a little bit thicker, but it's such an easy read. So I'm really excited to be getting into this. This is very political. This has a magic system like that has gemstones in it, so I'm really excited to see that. Theodosa, our main character, Ash Princess, really kind of develops. I hope that we really get to see like more of her magical abilities in this, because I don't feel like we got a lot of that in the previous two books. So I'm really hoping like that everything comes to fruition in this. I've heard a lot of people who have really enjoyed this conclusion, and I cannot wait to get to this either. The next book is going to be more of a romance contemporary, and it is The Simple Wild by K.A. Tucker. I believe, if I remember right, this takes place in Alaska, and this is a very well-loved romance. Like, there is actually a sequel out for it now, which I'm really excited about, and I've been meaning to get to this. And I am really, really excited. I don't really know anything more about it than that, but like the fact that it's so well spoken of, and I love books that are set in Alaska and the survival stuff. I love that. So I'm really excited to see about this as well. The last book that I really hope to be reading in the month of May is The Memory Police by Yoko Ogawa. And this is another one that I have been looking at for quite a while. This is an adult science fiction book, I believe, and other than that, like, I'm not really sure what this is about. It says a haunting Orwellian novel about the terrors of state surveillance from the acclaimed author of The Housekeeper and The Professor. And I believe I think in this people are getting their memories wiped. I don't know much past that. I don't nearly want to know much past that. I don't want to reread the synopsis since I'm so close to rereading this, but this is another one that I'm super excited about, and I really hope I love this. Guys, those are the main books that I hope to be getting in May, getting to read in May, because these are books like that I've been wanting to get to for a while, and I'm just so excited because like there's so many good books that I have to read. So I hope you guys like this video. If you guys like this video, hit the little like, hit subscribe, hit the little bell icon if you guys want to receive emails every single time I post. I'm also on Instagram, Amazon, Twitter, and Goodreads. Those links are linked in the description below, and I will see you guys again very soon.